So, there's a reason that it takes at least 10 years to get these black belts. And the reason that you got admitted to, I don't know, in my opinion, the world's most exclusive club. It isn't just about technique, because there's guys that come in here that are former collegiate wrestlers that can roll up black belts. It isn't about who you can beat up. It's the person that you become. It's coming into class. There's always problems in life. An obstacle is something we see when we lose sight of our goals. So everybody here, whether you've been the tapper or the tappee, you learn something every time. And when you come back, I know, and all the black belts here know, that you got something else to do tonight. You could be down at the bar, you could be goofing around, doing something lame, playing a video game, but you come down here to break a sweat, probably get your arm twisted backwards, tapped out, choked into unconsciousness. But the guy that keeps you coming back for more, don't ask me how he does it, but look around. Everybody keeps coming back. And there's a reason for that. That's all about leadership. So, I put together a little presentation tonight. It takes about 10 minutes. And I think, well, maybe we'll make Anthony cry. So, everybody please move back over there. I'm going to set up a projector right here, shoot something on that wall. Okay, lights out, please. Okay, for the last year I've combed through Dojo archives and reached out to current students as well as those going back 37 years ago to find old pics. I was able to assemble over 1,000 grainy photographs going back since before cell phone cameras existed. Selecting a handful of pictures to chronicle our history was a complicated and lengthy process, especially while keeping this project a secret from Anthony. He knows everything. We've all heard about legends in martial arts and the famous dojos they represent. And sometimes we're fortunate enough to meet, or even better, trained with a living legend. For me, that was beginning a grappling career with legendary Judo Gene LaBelle. After a year with Gene, he eventually sent me to Tenri Judo Dojo in East Los Angeles, one of the top 3 academies in the world known for producing Olympians. But cutting-edge knowledge and cutting-edge skills don't come easy. For 14 years, it was necessary to commute to Los Angeles 3 times a week to train in different arts with the best fighters in order to hone my skills. Our roots began as a full-contact, bare-knuckle karate school on the tattered old wrestling mats at the Palm Springs Youth Center. But after training with Gene LaBelle, there was no turning back, and in 1987, we grew into the first and largest grappling school in the Coachella Valley, with plans to create a local LA quality school that would also become a mecca for the best. Yet once that goal was achieved, who would carry the torch into the next century? Remembering that the hallmark of great sensei is not only becoming masters among peers, but also masters who not only recreate themselves, but can also make the next generation even stronger. And there were plenty of worthy candidates to take over the school. Yet once that goal was achieved, who would carry the torch into the next century? Thus, a difficult search was on, with the aid of our school's first black belt, my brother, Brad Nesty, and I, to find such men. Brad, wave your hand. Right here. He's right here. He flew down from Seattle just for this event. As the school's reputation grew, one August evening in 1990, at our Palm Springs Gold's Gym judo class, a dozen muscular youngsters appeared bounding up the stairs. They wanted to find out if the old men were tough enough to train them. Let's just say they soon discovered there was much to learn and that grappling was a way of the future. But hey, let's go back a few decades. In the early hours of March 1st, 1976, there came a mysterious rumble from deep within the earth as a bolt of lightning streaked across the sky. It's rumored that maternity doctors were stunned as a chubby, curious infant burst into the world, throwing punches while launching into cartwheels. A gifted athlete from birth, fearing only kryptonite, Anthony Mantanona excelled in every physical endeavor he attempted. And through fate and genetics, Anthony was destined to be a leader in the world of martial arts. But as you can see, he's begun to dwindle away to nothing. And remember that true martial artists are attracted by like minds and similar spirits. That's the reason that all of you are drawn to this dojo as much as brothers Dan McCowan and Anthony Mantanona. As an instructor's dream, these two natural-born athletes with hearts of lions prompted us to work them like animals in grueling classes that others backed away from. Yet no matter what we threw at them, these bold young teenagers never backed down and always eagerly bounced back for more. Nightly strategy meetings with Brad, asking each other if we were pressing Dan and Anthony too hard. The answer was always a resounding, hell no. Those around Dan and Anthony could see that their remarkable skills and fearless spirits were being developed during the harshest training we could dish out, with remarkable technique displayed in the competition arena. Yet as the school progressed, it was through Daniel and Anthony's foray into wrestling that a new facet was incorporated while the boys began to teach high school wrestling. As Dan and Anthony evolved into the epitome of achievement and determination, they fought their way to Judo black belt, the old school Japanese brutal way of beating 10 other black belts in competition. But back in the early 90s, before anybody else knew what grappling was, karate was far more popular through movies and magazines. Until Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu roared into the US, many karate practitioners disregarded us as just wrestlers. But several years before the Gracie Ultimate Challenge was even televised, we were already ahead of our time. And as grappling was relatively new in the US, we had many curious challengers from other fields who came in to test our crew and quickly experienced defeat. Their first lesson was how to tap. They often complained that our pioneering team was using unconventional techniques normally separated by categories of judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, or sambo. It became comically predictable outcome watching Dan and Anthony roll up the unwary. It was fun because guys used to come into school and want to test us, and I'd always point to Daniel and Anthony when they were green belts. I'd go, I got a couple of little youngsters here, why don't you give them a try? But after our opponents tapped out, it was all the same to us. So at the time, we coined our style, combat grappling for street defense. A legend was growing with new leadership. Therefore, with much love and respect, I present to you a living legend of our time and founder of his own dynasty, Anthony Mantanona. Under Anthony's guidance, he encourages competition along with highly skilled sparring partners who are also instrumental in every competition victory. And no matter the age or gender, Anthony assures a place for every student, with each generation becoming stronger and more technical. And age is no restriction. With 150 adults and 150 kids in both jiu-jitsu, judo, and wrestling, Anthony monitors each student as they progress into their next levels. Learning respect and discipline early in life makes for successful adults, whatever the level of students Anthony sees each one as a finished product, an eventual black belt. Every one of you. Although students pay monthly dues to support the school, this is not just business to Anthony. It's always been about development of the individual, encouraging students to rise to levels they never imagined. Great coaches teach others, no matter their age, how to believe in themselves. Looking around at all these familiar faces, we note astounding dedication over the decades and believe that every one of you will still be here for years to come. And our current team of competing women is also furthering the school's reputation. I don't know if you guys have been rolled up by the girls yet, but if you haven't, you will be. As our ferocious felines are forever bringing home the medals as much as the men. Since accepting the responsibility of the future of the legendary Coachella Valley Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Dan and Anthony have coached our Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, and wrestling warriors all into thousands of championships, all the way to dominating national and international events. Whereas a hardcore attitude is common here, it's Dan and Anthony who provide the environment for tough workouts combined with loving spirits to keep everybody coming back for more. There's a reason that students return from competition with unusual amounts of hardware around their necks, and that's great coaching. The result is disciplined teammates becoming a family, known for a deep sense of camaraderie. A constant reminder that we were all on the same team, with the boss leading the charge into one victory after another. The dojo has already exploded into the world stage with international recognition for producing high-level champions in various forms of grappling. But not to be missed, though, was the magical romance of high school sweethearts, Anthony and Lisa. On May 4th, 2000, Anthony wedded Lisa and Wonder Woman in her own right. Since day one, Lisa has been the backbone of this dojo, constantly busy driving her children to various events, maintaining a household, and still managing the paperwork. Unfortunately, Lisa could not be here tonight because she has taken their daughter Mila to Oklahoma for a major wrestling tournament where last count I saw she won her match. I don't know what happened yet. Yet with the world in need of successor champions, Anthony and Lisa began producing a squadron of 6 little warriors alongside Daniel's son, Eric. After their 5th child, I finally asked them, hey, you guys know what's causing this? And a family that rolls together stays together. And thus a special interest began with development of younger grapplers. Using goal orientation through promotional ranks and competition builds character and structured discipline, which are necessary foundations for handling life's challenges. The school has always been about contributing to the community and shaping lives through quality martial art. Lifelong fingerprints remain on young warriors from 3 years old up to 75. A man of phenomenal patience, believing that every student should understand the basics. And sometimes there's that unmistakable smirk when deciding who gets to be today's demo guy. And the winner is... A good sensei plays a variety of roles: instructor, motivator, rolling partner, conditioning coach, counselor, and sometimes manager of personalities. But a great sensei also always leads from the front, like Anthony, who still rolls all 5 rounds with his students multiple times a day in between classes and coaching the wrestlers. And the dynasty continues. The school has now become evenly divided between wrestling, judo, and jiu-jitsu, with young wrestlers charging in to non-stop competition victories. In the final analysis, great schools come down to great leadership, which well-earned reputations for excellence. And being a hands-on coach, encouraging his teams, is another fundamental of Anthony Mantanona. Since accepting the responsibility in the future of legendary Coachella Valley Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Dan and Anthony have coached our Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, and wrestling warriors into thousands of championships on the way up to dominating national and international events. Anthony first started teaching kids wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu in his garage 15 years ago. Then went on to coach Palm Desert High School for 6 years. Dan and Anthony led Palm Desert High teams to earn trophies and awards well into the thousands. And among thousands of schools in the U.S., Dan and Anthony made Palm Desert High 12th in the country. Although students pay dues monthly to support the school, this is not just a business. And last year, the Palm Desert High team was 4th in the state. Dan and Anthony have coached Palm Desert High wrestlers into thousands of wins with 13 state medalists, 4 state champions, 3 national champions, and 3 world team members. As of today, Dan and Anthony have coached 17 young athletes who have wrestled and are currently wrestling or will be wrestling next year at the college level. We all expect a lot from Anthony, and he delivers. As enthusiastically dedicated today as when he began Judo 30 years ago. A giant in the world of martial art, he has become that beacon of light, illuminating a path for so many others to follow. And the highest achievement yet was Brock's recent 3rd place win at the World Championship Wrestling Tournament in Istanbul, Turkey. That's the highest for our sport. And finally, we were all sorry to see Daniel's relocation to Kentucky a few years ago, but within a short time, he has already founded Lake Cumberland Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, with a team of hardy grapplers anxious to train, and already formed a tribe of fearless hillbilly warriors heading into competition. And for me, nearly 5 decades of devout martial arts training has become a spiritual journey into completing a circle of destiny. Early students have become my teachers, and training partners have become my coaches. But it's these 2 men who are like my sons, who have exceeded any expectations anyone could ever have imagined. During my early career, I was fortunate enough to train with world-class legends and world-class dojos. It is now your good fortune to train under these 2 living legends of our time in the world-famous Coachella Valley Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Let's show some love to the boys. And thank you very much for your attention.